Welcome back to Capital Catch-Up, your weekly deep dive into the marble halls of Washington. I'm Victor.
And I'm Lenny. It is the final week of January 2026, and the 119th Congress has certainly hit the ground running. We have a massive slate of legislation to get through today, ranging from heavy political hitters to critical infrastructure updates.
That's right, and we have to start with the headline grabber. We're looking at House Resolution 1015. This is a move recommending that the House find William J. Clinton and Hillary R. Clinton in contempt of Congress.
It's a significant escalation. The text specifically cites a refusal to comply with a subpoena issued by the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. Now, for our listeners who might not follow procedural drama closely, contempt of Congress is essentially the legislative branch's way of enforcing its authority. It's the mechanism they use when they feel a witness is obstructing an investigation.
Exactly. Historically, this is rare territory, involving a former president and first lady. It signals that the Oversight Committee is playing hardball regarding past testimonies or document production. And speaking of investigations, Lenny, there was another intense committee meeting titled Examining the Investigation into the DNC and RNC Pipe Bombs.
That was on January 14th. It's been years since those devices were planted, and Congress is clearly frustrated with the pace of the FBI's investigation. But let's pivot to legislation that might hit a bit closer to home for the average commuter. We saw the introduction of the Roadway Safety Modernization Act of 2025.
This is a bicameral effort. We have Senate Bill 3572 and House Resolution 6874. Given the rising traffic fatality rates we've seen over the last few years, this bill aims to update safety standards that, frankly, haven't kept pace with modern vehicle sizes and speeds.
And keeping with transportation, there is the Train Act, House Resolution 7209 and Senate Bill 2455. While the text is technical, train usually implies regulatory adjustments for the rail industry, likely addressing safety protocols following the derailment concerns we've discussed in previous episodes.
Infrastructure isn't just concrete and steel anymore, it's digital. I was interested to see House Resolution 1873, the Broadband Grant Tax Treatment Act.
Oh, this is a huge one for rural deployment, Victor. Basically, when companies get federal grants to build internet infrastructure, that money is often taxed as income. This bill would likely exempt those grants from taxation, meaning more of that money actually goes into the ground to lay fiber rather than back to the IRS.
Efficiency seems to be the theme. We also have House Resolution 6824 and Senate Bill 3531, which amend the Internal Revenue Code to establish tax credits for combined heat and power system property.
That's often called cogeneration. It's tech that captures the heat produced during electricity generation and uses it to heat buildings. It's incredibly efficient but expensive to install. These tax credits are designed to lower that barrier to entry for factories and large apartment complexes.
Speaking of energy, the Committee on Energy and Commerce held a hearing titled American Energy Dominance, Dawn of the New Nuclear Era. It sounds like the 119th Congress is leaning heavily into nuclear as a baseload power solution.
Absolutely. And on the agricultural side, we have the Buying American Cotton Act, versions for both 2025 and 2026, found in Senate Bill 1919 and House Resolution 7230. This looks like a push to tighten domestic procurement rules, ensuring that government contracts, perhaps for military uniforms, prioritize U.S.-grown fiber.
Let's talk housing. It's the #1 issue for many of our listeners. We saw the introduction of the Homes Act, House Resolution 4352, and the Housing for the 21st Century Act, House Resolution 6644.
We also saw House Resolution 6825, which requires federal monitors of public housing agencies to actually testify before Congress. That adds a layer of accountability we haven't really seen before. If a housing authority is failing, Congress wants the federal babysitters to explain why.
And in a very specific but important markup, the Natural Resources Committee looked at the Tribal Trust Land Homeownership Act of 2025. Lending on tribal land is notoriously difficult due to complex property laws, so this aims to streamline mortgage processes for Native Americans.
Moving to healthcare and veterans, the schedule was packed. There was a massive legislative hearing discussing the Beacon Act, the Recover Act, and the Veterans Mental Health and Addiction Therapy Quality of Care Act.
The sheer volume of bills discussed in that hearing, addressing everything from blast overpressure injuries to suicide prevention, shows a concerted effort to modernize the VA's approach to invisible wounds. There was also House Resolution 6001, the Veterans with ALS Reporting Act, which addresses a heartbreaking correlation between military service and ALS.
On the civilian health side, we have Senate Bill 2556, the Protecting Healthcare and Lowering Costs Act. We'll need to see the full text to know the mechanism, but usually titles like that target insurance premiums or prescription drug prices.
Now, Lenny, we have to look at the personnel side. the Senate has been churning through nominations.
A true flurry of activity. We saw nominations for U.S. attorneys, Andrew Benson for Maine, William Boyle for North Carolina, and Richard Price for the Western District of Missouri.
And the judiciary is getting filled out too. Nicholas John Ganji for the Southern District of Texas, David Clay Folks for Western Arkansas, and Megan Blair Benton for Western Missouri.
Also Aaron Christian Pedersen for Alaska and Justin R. Olson for Indiana. These are lifetime appointments, Victor. The 119th Congress is moving fast to reshape the federal bench.
We also can't ignore the odd mix of committee hearings. We had one on competition and consumer choice in digital streaming, and another titled In Their Corner, creating more opportunities for American boxers.
I loved that one. It's rare you see Congress discussing the sweet science of boxing, but it involves labor rights and safety standards just like any other industry. On a more serious note, the Judiciary Committee held a hearing on anti-American antitrust, how foreign governments target U.S. businesses. This reflects growing tension with the EU and other bodies regulating American tech giants.
Finally, for those who love the official record, the Congressional Record for January 16th through the 23rd, Volume 172, numbers 12 through 16, are now available. These document every word spoken on the floor.
It's the history books in real time.
So what should we watch for in the coming days?
Watch the movement on those veteran mental health bills. They seem to have bipartisan momentum. And keep an eye on that Clinton contempt resolution. If that comes to a floor vote, it will suck all the oxygen out of the room.
And watch for the markup on the Smarter Borders, Safer Nation Act regarding inspection technology. That's all for this week. Thanks for listening to Capital Catch-Up.
See you next time.